Good morning, it's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade. I'm going to do another quick video on using a filter chart, and then I'm going to be doing a webinar on Thursday, March 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go over the 1-minute setup during the webinar, and then also taking that same setup on a 5-minute chart or a 15, just something larger, and then I'll show you during that webinar how to use a filter chart. Whether you're trading, on a range chart, a tick chart, whatever type chart. So I'll show you how you can set up a chart for confirmation on all those types as well. But for now, let's just look at some charts this morning. This is pre-market this morning. This is a 1-minute chart over here. This is a 15-minute, and this is a 5-minute. I've got a 60-minute on the other monitor. It doesn't really matter which chart you're trading off of. You can make use of using the confirmation chart. So for the 1-minute setup, we're always looking for price to break the super trend stop. We want to be above or below this moving average here, depending on the direction we're taking. And then we want our stochastics to be in line. In line being green line above the red, or if the red's above 80 and overbought, we can look for a buy, or if the red's below 20 and oversold, we can look for shorts. So now you just take it to another chart. So you're going to look for all that criteria on your entry chart, and now depending on what setups you're trading, you're going to look for the same indication. So for example, let's say this buy here on this 1-minute, it's not technically valid because my stochastics are not in line here for it. Here on this short setting up right here, technically valid here on the stochastics, but it's setting up above that moving average, that black line we have on this chart. So depending on how aggressive you want to be, you can decide to take it or pass. That's the thing about trading, is you can take little bits of all different types of setups or things that make sense to you and turn them into your own. So this one here, like if I was looking at this, I wasn't trading at that time, but if you're looking at this right here for the short, I'm going to just mark it here so I can show you on the other charts where it's at. So right there on the 1-minute, right here on the 15-minute, and then let's see where it is on the 5, just out of curiosity. And on the 5, it is somewhere around here, right there. So in looking at that for this short, now granted, you could just see that we had been moving up on this 15-minute chart. And so now this basically is either going to turn into a pullback, or is it going to change direction, or is it going to go sideways until it gets ready for its next move? Obviously, we have no idea. So we're just trying to play the probabilities. So if I was to take this short here, if you look at it here on my 15-minute chart, my stochastics are not in line at that time for a short because my green line's above the red, plus my red line's above 80 and overbought. Now, a lot of people think that because the stochastic gets in overbought that you're looking for shorts. That's not true. If you go back and look, depending on the settings that you use on your stochastics, if you go back and look and like you'll see that red line being in overbought and staying there, that's going to be when you find a trending move happening, and vice versa for trending move to the downside. That red line's hanging out in oversold. It can stay there during a whole entire huge trend move lower, and that could be helpful because most of the time people are thinking that they're not going to short because they're in oversold. But realistically, if you see that and the market's moving lower, that gives you a heads up to look for a pullback opportunity. So definitely you can use that to your advantage. But on this 1-minute setup here, you'll see on the 5-minute also red line in overbought there. So really none of these other charts are agreeing for that short. So if you're somebody who does want additional confirmation with a higher time frame, or if you're using tick charts, a higher tick chart or range chart, then you would pass on this short, even though you can see it would have worked out. And realistically, you'd look over to the left and see where some support areas were. And you can see this general area here holding around 4,005 area. So if you wanted to be aggressive and take that, that would be your general target area. But just know that none of these other charts agree, so this move likely is not going to um, continue lower until some of the other charts get in line with it. Same holds for the 5-minute chart here. If you wanted to take an entry on the 5-minute, I don't have a setup per se happening, but let's say price breaks the super trend stop here. I mean, we have a ways to go, but if that broke right now, the 15 minutes not in line for that. And if you look, if you wanted to use 2 higher time frames, and then here's the 60, the 60 won't be in line for a short either. So now you just buy your time and you wait for something that sets up that agrees with those higher time frames. Again, if you want to use a confirmation chart, you don't have to. Obviously, the more confirmation you require, the fewer setups you get, but that's not always a bad thing, right? And then let's just look here when we get this buy setting up. When price was breaking the super trend stop right here was not valid, but the next bar, it was. Green line above the red. So if I wanted to take that as a buy here, I'd put my buy a tick above the super trend stop around 875. And then you'll see the 5 minutes in line because the red line is in overbought. 15's in line because both lines are in overbought. So that would be a valid buy back here. Then you kind of have to sweat it out here as it pulls back, and then it continues. Obviously, it's still moving higher. And then your target area would be somewhere around here at 11.25. I'm just going to draw a line here based on this area here. And then you're looking back up to the high of the day if it gets there. All right, you guys, so I'll go over that in a lot more detail during the webinar. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. If you have any questions in the meantime, you know where to find me. Have a great day.